eModels.co.uk. Go make something awesome.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello folks, Festa here from eModels. Welcome to part 2 of the Miniart Berlin Market Street scene. Today we're going to be doing the figures, folks. Now in these figure sets we got the Milkmen, we have got men with wooden barrels, and we have got the butchers, folks. So that's what we're going to be up to. These are all 35th scale figures, and we're going to be joining these together and getting some paint effects done with them as well. So a bit to be a white cap, just putting a bit of glue on them. We're getting the lower legs, or the legs put together of the Milkman, getting them bonded together. As you can see, there's the box art. So that's what we're going to try and be recreating today. And keep an eye out for these churns, folks, on this bloke. I'm going to come up with a little way of getting him to carry the churns, because in the figure set themselves, they come as separate churns, but I kind of want them to be holding them. So we're going to be doing a bit of deft drillage through his hands so that he can be carrying them, folks. Keep an eye out for that. You can grab these sets from eModels, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. So go and have a looky-loo in store, folks, and treat yourselves. And this is going to be part of the big Berlin scene diorama that I was doing on the live streams for eModels with Fox. Okay, folks, so you can see the full shows by going down there. But I just thought I'd grab these and put the footage together in a couple of short videos, or short-ish, for you, just so that you can see what I was up to. We're just gluing Ted's head on there, folks. So yeah, one of these Milkmen is a dead ringer for Ted. I'll leave it to you to decide which one. But yeah, he's a bit of a doppelganger. So just using the old drill bits there for the God hand drills there. This is the quick release set, as you can see. And I'm going to be drilling through his hand there. And then on the churn itself, I'm going to cut the handle right in the middle and then splay it apart and put it in this hole that I'm drilling right through his hands. And it will just give him the ability to hold the churns and give us a bit of wobblage. So just using the God hand nippers there just to give it a cut. And then you'll be able to see then like that. And then once this is done, that will let him carry them. And I just think it looks a little bit more like the box art. It just appeals to me a little bit more than just having the churn sat there, because you're going to see the figures and you're going to think he should be carrying them, which is exactly what I thought. So we'll just drill this through and we'll give you a little demo of what I actually mean. So just clean the drill bit off, put them back in the case for you. Don't want to be damaging them, folks, do we? And then we'll have a look now to see how this fits. So I'll just do a test fit. And again, these will all be coming back off to be painted, but I just want to see the concept. So it's a bit like putting an earring in, folks. You're just basically sliding that into the hand, and then the join in the middle will disappear into his fist. But as you can see, that looks like your nan's earrings, doesn't it, hanging down off of her granny lobes. Look at that. Ding-a-ling-ling-ling, have some of that. So he's now going to be able to carry them, and it's just going to look a little bit better and more like that box art, as you can see. So that's how you do that. I just think it's going to add to it, because in the diorama, these guys are going to be milling around in a marketplace. You're going to have them, you're going to have the butchers and the beer blokes doing the delivery. I just think it looks a little bit more authentic to me. So we'll just do a little fit of his arm just to see what we look like. Then once they've gone and dried off, we'll then add the churns and see what he looks like. So I'm going to try and get the arm into its position. Now these are sculpted, so the arms will hang down parallel to each other. Put a bit of white cap on there just to let that bond, and then as needed I'll go around with a bit of extra fin just to give it a weld. But that's kind of what I'm after. I just want him to look like he's walking from the milk truck straight over to the little cafe and doing their milk delivery for the day. So there you go. Do the same on the other side there. Nice precise fit on these. It's the one thing I will say about these Miniart figures, folks, is they really are nicely detailed, nicely sculpted, but they also fit together really well, which is a godsend. Look at that. Little bit round his hat there. Just line that up how I want it. I want it at a slightly jaunty angle, but not like a gangster's baseball cap, folks. But yeah. So I do a little bit of painting using the little short-handed brushes there. You'll notice the little yellow ones. They're godhand short-hand brushes, folks. They really are, I find, quite handy, to be quite honest with you. And just applying the paint on there quite liberally, because this is base coats I'm putting on first, and then I'll come back to them and do a little bit of edge highlighting and different layers just to add a bit of depth to the colour. A nice even couple of thin coats all over, folks, just to get that initial base coloured down. Work my way round, do his shirt sleeves, etc. He's got a set of dungarees on there. And this is Ted, this one. So, yeah. Just work my way round, put the back panel in there behind his head on his shirt there. Just work our way through. Just applying a nice bit of paint there. Just getting all the crooks and nannies. And then, like I say, another thin coat of this, and then I can start adding some slightly lighter layer paints on just to give the edge highlighting of the clothes. Work my way around his other arm there. Just gently drawing around the edges and working our way in and then filling in the colour as we go along, folks. And this is quite therapeutic doing this, I must admit. I mean, this was done on the live stream, obviously, but it is nice just to sit there with your paintbrush and just sit there doing a little bit of figure painting. Relaxes you. And again, you're just following all the contours of the model, because you've got all the folds and ripples in the shirt all sculpted in there, so you can just literally let the paint do the job. I'm using a wet palette, so it just thins the paint down enough to help it spread a bit better. And then just work your way around the edges there and fill in any deep folds. Let the brush do the work for you. And come round where his sleeve folds are there, working my way around his forearm. Just like so. And then we can start then filling in any little creases, deep creases, etc. And before you know it, you've got your shirt painted then. You start then going around and detailing everything. Coming around there, just where the sleeve folds around his elbow, there his inner elbow. And he's going to have a milk crate coming from his right shoulder into the cup of his right hand there. So same there, just working my way up and over the left shoulder there, coming around there for another thin coat. And then we can start now coming down, doing the front of the shirt collar there onto his chest. And again, the edges of the dungarees on this are sculpted quite precisely, so you can use that just to rest your brush bristles in even. And just scoot along there and close that front panel off. Now we come round with another coat. Just do the same. Letting the brush do the work for you. Just gently stroke the brush along the piece. And the paint will just go straight in there like so. You're basically just drawing with a paintbrush is the best way of doing it. Just come round the back there, underneath the arm there. Doing a rolled up sleeve on his upper arm there. And again, don't forget your creases, folks. Get all the deep creases done, because you will go in with a wash and give them a little bit of darkening, but it's just good to get the paint in there. Can now do the shirt on the other guy. This is an orange that's going on there. And again, use your box art, folks. Use the box art to do its thing. You know, it's there to help you. Quite large pictures on there, so use that to your advantage. You'll get to see all the different shades of colour, light and dark, that you could use to build up the fabric, just to give you that little bit of depth of colour. Just work it into the model. And not, like I say, don't try to cover it all in one coat. Use multiple thin coats. And then you can really get a nice paint effect going then. And these are quite a simple paint job because they're only 35th scale. They're quite tiny. But again, you still want people to see what you've tried to achieve there with your paint effect. I'm just working my way around the side there and then up over the shoulder. And again, same process we used for Ted. Work your way up along the edge of the dungaree straps there. And you can just start filling that in. Now doing these dungarees there, these trousers. And again, it's different shades of brown. But we'll start with a base colour. And then we can work up from that with different highlights as we go along the model. And just use multiple thin coats. That's all I can suggest, folks. Work our way across these arrows there and down the back of his leg. Like so. And again, you can use the brush to achieve a bit of texture as well, just by sweeping with the different angles of the folds. You can use your bristle marks slightly to your advantage to try and give the clothing a little bit of texture, folks. Not too much, but just enough of a suggestion that it's actually in fabric. Work our way along the straps there. I'm using a more precise brush on this. Pointed liner brush. And then we can start now lining in his cap. Getting that all done. And then the same with the hair and the flesh. It's the same principle. Just let the brush do the work. And multiple thin coats is what you're after. And already just with one coat, you can start seeing the flesh definition coming through. And again, you can use washes and flesh shades and things just to give different tonal effects on the skin. Going in with a lighter flesh colour now, just to pick out any little highlights and shadows and things like that. Just lightens it up. And again, you can go in with something like Reichland flesh shade just to go back in and give some line marks where the fingers are tight together and things like that. We just want that tonal change between light and dark flesh to start coming now. Multiple thin coats, folks. Use the paint almost like a glaze. Do the same here on Paul. SMC, a good friend of mine. This character looks just like him. Dead ringer for Bob Hoskins, basically. So we start doing him, and he's literally bare-backed in his dungarees, this guy. He's a big burly beer barrel roller. So he's doing his thing there, and he's looking all hot and bothered, bless him. So we'll do a good job on him. This is one of the butchers, all in his whites there with his apron on. So we'll be doing him. And we got the head butcher who's got his red leather apron on. And the eagle-eyed of you that like motor racing, the guy with the red apron on with his arms folded and the meat cleaver is a dead ringer for Valtteri Bottas, the Formula One driver. You can't unsee it when you see the box art, folks. If you go back to the beginning and look at the thumbnail, he's got the big Valtteri Bottas moustache going on, and yeah, for me, he's a bit of a doppelganger. This guy's basically carried a big old rib rack behind his canister there, as you can see. He's got his leather body warmer on and his white apron, and he's going to be coming down the staircase at the back of the diorama scene, folks. So I want to kind of have him in motion. So we got the staircase, Miniart staircase going in. I'm going to be scratch building a diorama with walls, a cobbled street and all of that lot going on. And these butchers are going to be under the staircase. The head butcher with his carts of meat and all of that lot. And this guy's going to be coming out of the warehouse and down the staircase above him. Across from them, you're going to have the beer barrel guys. Here's Revell.Monogram, folks, with his leather apron on. And they're going to be part of the scene. You've got your milk delivery going on. They're going to be going into the cafeteria. And then you guys along the side of the wall where the brewery is are going to be doing a beer delivery. So quite a nice little scene. I hope people like it when it's finished. The next issue of this video will be doing the cobbled street. All the brickwork and stuff like that if you haven't done that before, so I'll show you how I do that. Just my own way of doing it using XPS foam, etc. Here we're putting a leather effect apron on, various different shades of brown, and then I'll be putting some shade washes over it just to give the facsimile almost of the appearance of leather. Bit of Rhinox hide and then different textures going on. And then a bit of Reichland and Agrax Earthshade mixed together, just to give a nice little wash. And it gives a nice little effect at the end of the day. Just lining the shoes that he's wearing, old Valtteri there. Similar thing, same as what I use for the leather aprons, but you're just doing it to create a look of leather shoes. And it's nice just to detail these figures up a little bit and give them a bit of character. He's got his big old meat cleaver there going on. And again, the leather apron was done in various shades of red, and then a nice red shade went over the top of it. And it gives you a nice effect of old, creased and slightly worn leather. Works for me. Going in doing his moustache, just to bring him alive. And then we got this guy to do as well, who's rolling a beer barrel on its end rather than on its side. And he's going to be stood over where the window is of the cafeteria, just unloading the other barrels off the lorry. And once these figures are painted, then I can go around, detail up the paint effect on the meat to create the meat side and the fat side and the skin side. And come back to Bob Hoskins here and start lining in his dungaree straps, just detailing them in. Now I've done all the flesh. Going around, just picking out any details that I might have missed. And just keep going back over using different shades of blue coming from dark to light. Same with these, different oranges going on. Just start making it very bright, and then I can go and knock back then any creases with a slightly darker shade is as and when I need to. But this is the stage that just starts bringing everything to life for me. And again, just coming round, brightening up the sleeves, making it stand out, using my box art to be left as a reference. And I can start seeing then where the dense colours are, and then I can come back, edge highlight all the creases, and just give that a little bit of texture. Doing the same on this guy. He's got a very light, almost like an ochre colour shirt on. So we'll just use a bit of light orange to start with, and then I can come back and use a few shades on him just to darken it up a little bit. Again, same process. Work it across the model. Let the brush do the work for you. And then rest it on my bench just so that I can go around, do the back panel. Line anything along the edges that I need to do. And again, it's just adding character to the figures already. They're beginning to pop, which is what I'm after. And again, once they're all together on the scene, it'll just brings it alive for you. And those simple little boxes of figures, folks, you know, we often see these little figure sets in model shops, and we tend to bypass them and look at the big tank, the big truck, etc., etc. But sometimes just these little figure sets alone, you might not use them straight away for a build, but they're a wonderful thing just to sit there and paint, to relax. And then when you do a scene, you go like, oh, I've got some figures over there, I can add them to it. And that's how this idea started. It started with the beer truck build. And then I got the milk truck as a separate build. And then I thought, you know, I might as well make a little street scene. And that's how it evolved. And then I started looking for figures, went on to eModels, and there they are. It's going to create a nice little set, and you'll be able to see this once it's finished, folks. I will be dropping it up to the eModels shop, and you'll be able to see this in their store under the counter. So you'll be able to see this little dio there, along with all our other build models that we've been doing. This is one of the meat carts. This is another little set that is available, little meat stall. Fruit stalls are available, butcher's stalls, you can get craft stalls, sewing stalls, all kinds of fruit and veg. I just thought this would work with the butcher's set, and yeah, a little meat market going on. Why not? Start putting in the reds now for the meat side of things. And again, starting with a base red, and then I can use lighter reds just to create the effect of ribs and stuff like that. Just adds to it. And then can shade over that with a shade to create the effect of skin. Cajun flesh tone going on a bit of lighter flesh. Just to create that illusion. And then, like I say, a flesh shade going over it will just create that skin texture, which is what we're after. Now, painting these on the sprue is purely because it is easier for me. And then once I cut them off and get rid of the nub, I've only got to lightly touch up any areas where the sprue joined. But they're so tiny, these little parts, that it's far easier for me to paint them on there. Little racks of sausages and things like that. It's far easier for me anyway, just to paint them on the sprue. A lot of people will be cringing because I'm doing it, but hey, you know, why not? It works for me. Just going around there doing the fat edge around the edge of the meat there. Got loads of little chickens and sausages and all of that sort of frankfurters and stuff going on. And then these are all going the little individual crates on the fruit stall, folks. Just brings it alive, doesn't it? Again, same process, multiple thin coats. You're almost using the paint as a slight glaze. Just working your way over. Letting the paint run where it needs to. And we can come back now and do a bit more on his shirt. Just going around, picking out any pieces that I want to jump out. And then we can come back and adjust the colour as we need to later on. Same with this guy here, just really going over, looking for any areas that may be a bit patchy. Just working the paint into them. And there they are, look at them. Have some of that. So we're now coming back round, doing a little bit of edge highlighting, as you can see, on the dungarees there, just to lighten them up. And again, same with the barrels. We've got a wood grain effect. I've been round and I've scratched or etched in the wood grain on all these barrels and crates. And then I'm going around doing all the steel bands with a bit of lead belcher, just to bring them alive. There's decals going on the barrels as well. Old Valtry's getting another coat on his shirt there. And the back of his white coat working its way down there. And again, as I need to, I can go in with slightly very thin down wash and just give him any little panel lines and stuff like that that we need around the edges of the clothing, just to give it a bit more definition. Things like the seam down the side of the trousers, that sort of thing. Again, a really nice sculpt, this one, I must admit. Quite a bit of detail. He's got quite a fat belly on him as well, bless him. Here's the churns doing their test just to make sure that they do their jiggle, so to speak. So he's carrying his churns. But again, it really does mirror the box art now, because otherwise he wouldn't have been carrying these and it just wouldn't have had the same effect for me. Again, just where the cut is in the handle there, just splay it apart and then feed one side through the hole in his hand, like so. And then just slide it back so that the joint is in his fist rather than hanging out the side. And there he is, folks. He's carrying the churns. This guy rolling the barrel and glue into the barrel just so that he stands up easier. Same with this guy. He's basically gripping the rim of the barrel there, so I want to glue that to him. And then it's like the tripod effect. It basically stops the figure falling over. But these will get glued to the diorama anyway, but for the moment, just lets you see the figures almost in motion, so to speak. Let's have a looky-loo. There's the butchers, looking rather splendid. There's me beer fellas. Again, the barrels have got decals on them as well to add a bit of detail even. Your milk fellas there carrying their churns and all the meats and stuff like that. And this was towards the end of the live stream there where I'm showing everyone what I've been up to, bless. But yeah, really are a good figure set, folks, these. I can't praise them enough. I had such good fun doing them. So we're getting ready to wrap this video up for you. So that is the Market Street seat figures, the Butcher's set, Men with Wooden Barrels and the Milkmen. They'll then be getting put into the diorama with all of the vegetable stalls, meat stalls. The milk truck, beer truck will be going in there as well, so you'll be able to see all of that. In the next video, we'll be starting the diorama. In the meantime, head over to eModels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. You can check out these figure sets there. You can see the Miniart vehicles. So until the next video, stay safe and well. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.